Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool It Podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Welcome back to episode 61 of season 2. Let me introduce my co-host Alex.
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right, guys. So we just played our weekend's game against Atletico Madrid. We got it wasn't a convincing win, but we got the 3 points, and that's what
Mm.
mattered. And now our next game is in the Supercopa de España against Betis. This is, I think, this game is going to be Barcelona's one of the most important games, especially because of what this means for Xavi. Because this is a chance to win the first title of the season. If we beat Betis and we beat Real Madrid, we basically have gotten Xavi's first title. What are your sensations going into this game, Alex?
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of nerves, like you said. Xavi, although as a player, he one of the greatest of all time in his position. As a manager, he still has a lot to prove,
Yeah,
and he's already been at Barca for over a season,
yeah, he's been
right?
here for about a year or so, a year and like 2 months, something like that.
Right. So, it's not a lot of time, and you still need to give coaches time to work with their teams and to get results. But for for the legacy he left and for the players that he has gotten, he has a lot to prove still. And I think, like you said, this is the best opportunity he has to, start the year off right,
Yeah,
to basically establish himself more as a manager and as a leader within Barca, not just
yeah,
as the coach. Because of course, there's a lot of leadership that goes into being a coach, but we know there's coaches that aren't really leaders, right? They're just the tactician behind some of the plays. But Xavi, he's a genuine leader, and he's going to show it. I just think tomorrow's an important game. I don't think we have the hardest opponent to play against, but Betis is not a bad team by any means. They're a
hmm
very scrappy team, and they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to prove. We have
no,
everything.
no. And then sometimes they play really good football.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
They
They're playing without. I mean, they still have pressure, of course. Everyone wants to win a tournament, but
hmm
I don't think it's as much pressure as Barca has with all its fan base, all of the money it's spent, all of the backing it's had. So of course,
yeah.
it's a very important game, and there's a lot that goes into it. Now, do I think Barca win this? Yeah, and I think Barca have to hold their ground and to go into this game with the mentality that, hey, we're gonna win this and we're gonna go to the final and we gotta beat Madrid.
Okay. So this is basically the squad list for the game. He's basically taken everyone. I see Xavi. Well, he's basically said that we're going to be taking this extremely seriously, and we're going to basically going to be going for like a full lineup. I'm expecting to see the same lineup that we put out against Atletico Madrid, with the only
Mhm.
exception being that Lewandowski is coming back in. He's going to be starting that game, and it's going to be four midfielders, I think. Would
I'm,
you go with the
I'm-
same setup?
yeah, I loved positionally and how Xavi set up the team. I loved it. I thought Xavi has somewhat found his starting 11, and he's cooking with it. It's how everyone's saying right
Yeah,
now, like let him cook.
yeah.
I think that's what we need to. Yeah, I think that's what we need Xavi to do. We're putting a four-man midfield, and I think for what we're trying to accomplish, which is to dominate the game and create chances and hold possession, I think that's perfect. Because
Hmm.
if it comes to it, right, you can have Pedri and Gavi, right, as your
Like
main
advanced
chance
player,
creators.
as like the
Right,
advanced
they're
players.
playing a little higher up,
Uh huh.
and by having the double pivot, which is what I imagine Xavi might go for here, in Busquets and De Jong, you're also giving a sense of direction, but also of like a calm type of ball control, especially with the defense. Because if we look at our defense, they're not bad at ball distribution, but they're not the best, especially Araujo. He's not the brightest, with his long balls or with his sometimes his short passing into the midfield, and that's fine. What he does is amazing. His one-on-one defending is phenomenal. He's a warrior at defense, but
Yeah.
he's not the best passing from the back. He's not someone like maybe Eric Garcia, but then again, he's not that great defensively. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but with that being said, I think the double pivot will help the defense move forward, and say Betis goes in with a more pressing mindset. Say they don't defend from the beginning, they don't drop back. we might need that because it'll help us get into the game quickly. And
Okay.
even if at one point we slow things down and we give Betis more ball possession, it also helps us get the ball back and distribute better and keep better control of the game. Now, since we have a four-man defense and possibly a four-man midfield.
No. Okay. But who's starting in defense? Are you repeating
Oh,
the same
in that
defense?
defense, I'm gonna be very conservative for this game. I want to win it, so I'm gonna start obviously Ter Stegen on goal.
Okay.
Left back, I'll be playing Balde.
Balde. Okay.
My center back pairing will be Christensen and Araujo,
Okay.
and my right back would be Conde.
Okay. That's actually the same back line that I was gonna go with. Just because I want that back line because I think that's Barcelona's best back line when you think about it.
For sure.
Based on form and experience and everything. And they complement each other very well. And I want this back line to get some experience and some confidence together. Of course, Jordi Alba could come into this game, but I don't see why because Balde has been playing very well so far, and he played well against Atletico Madrid. The only reason why I would see Jordi Alba coming in is maybe to rest Balde for the weekend. That's an option. But I think the lineup picks itself, honestly.
Right. No, and I understand. Excuse me. I understand where someone might also say, "Hey, play Jordi Alba because we want to play a more aggressive game." But I think that's not a fair thing to say because yes, Jordi Alba is known for being a forward playing fullback, a left back, but I think Balde can do the same thing and he can do it as well, but he can also defend better. So
Yeah.
I just think Balde brings a more complete package for a left back option that I think Jordi Alba lacks, and especially now that he's older, Jordi Alba doesn't run like he used to. He doesn't have the same strength, the same physicality. Not that he was ever particularly dominant in that area, but of course, we see the difference.
Yeah.
And Jordi Alba has been a phenomenal player for the team, but his time is coming to an end. And I think if we want to win and we want to be serious about this tournament, this is the best backline you can go for. And something that you said that's very true. This backline complements each other in the best way because, like we said, we have players like Araujo that are great on defense. They'll get the last man. They'll do everything. They'll block the shot. And then you have players like Christensen who can do that, but they pass well and they go great forward with the ball. And that's one of the reasons we got him because, like Eric Garcia, he can pass the ball well, but unlike him, he can also defend the one-on-one man mark better, has better defensive awareness. I think it's what you said. All the players learn from each other, right? Joe Skunde is not the best going forward, but he can learn a thing or two from Balde's game.
Yeah.
And although they play on opposite sides of the field, he can also help in the counter and whatever it is needed with. For sure.
Yeah, and on top of that, we have to remember that Kunde isn't a right back. So
no, of course, right? He's still learning.
Yeah, exactly. He's a center back, and as soon I'm guessing for next season, I think Kunde is just gonna be playing as that right back for this season. I think next season we're gonna splash the money for a very good right back. And just basically solve that right back problem because we haven't solved that since the departure of Dani Alves.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you this: if Xavi continues to go with this four-man midfield, because we saw him experiment with this prior to the World Cup. Remember, against Villarreal.
Correct. Yeah.
No, against Atletico Bilbao. And then it was against Bayern, which in Bayern it didn't work. I'm guessing that was because it's just different circumstances. But where does this leave Rafinha? Because Rafinha came in for big money. We paid a lot for him. And if Ousmane Dembele if we're only going to have two attackers, I'm pretty sure Rafinha isn't going to be happy being on the bench every single game for to see Dembele start.
Right, and this is a valid thing to say because we did pay money for Rafinha and
a lot of money too.
And as much as it hurts to say, as far as this season go, I'm not gonna call him a flop, but I'm gonna call him a very big underperformer at the team.
Okay.
He has not worked as expected. I'm a bit disappointed. As someone who really admired him when he was playing at Leeds, I expected a lot from him when he came here, but at the end of the day, I just think it all comes down to a difference in the system. At Leeds, he had more of a free role, although he liked to stay a lot on the right. They just sort of gave him the keys to attack as he pleased. And For him, that was a good thing, right? That was also similar to what Dembele did at Dortmund. He was playing on the right wing, but he also had a free role of sorts, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where that's where he's shown the most. Um, and I think Rafinha he's a player that's so skilled with so much potential. I just think he's not been consistent, and like we said, he's underperformed. Now,
No,
do I think
wait, hold on. One thing that I would like to add is that even though Rafinha has been underperforming, like he hasn't performed great, let's remember how many games has he started on the right hand side in his natural position, and he's had a consistent run of games in that position. Very
right? That's
few,
true. That's also true. That's also true.
because like when Rafinha played, it was Usman Dembele on the right and Rafinha on the left. And then they would constantly be switching. They would be switching and changing flanks. And I don't think that suits Rafinha. We saw it again in the game against Inter. Rafinha was out on the left, and it went horribly wrong. Rafinha did not was ineffective. Usman Dembele was atrocious on that game. His decision making wasn't up to par.
Yeah.
So we had to see Rafinha in that right hand side just to basically see his best level in his natural position.
Right, and I agree with you. It's just I think even when he has played there, I haven't been too convinced. Listen, at the end of the day, what you're saying is also very important. He hasn't been getting as many minutes where he needs to be playing, but you know, I think the system that Xavi wants to use, that he used against Atletico, and what he wants to use, possibly against Betis, is probably the best we have right now. Defensively, we're solid. Now, let me ask you a question that I thought about earlier. If we do get a good right back, whoever that may be,
Okay,
what happens to Conde?
what happens to Kunde? I think in that situation it's gonna go Araujo and Kunde as that center back pairing, and then we bring him right back. I think Christensen, he's gonna be that center back that we have there for depth. Um,
Mm.
I think that's how it's gonna go.
And
Um,
that's not a bad thing because we see this in teams like City, right? Where Pep Guardiola likes having,
exactly.
say, for the league, he'll play center backs of John Stones and Ruben Diaz,
Mm-hmm.
or a combination like that, and then he'll switch him around and put Ake or
And then we still have to remember, Barcelona play a lot of games and players get injured. We saw Raúl be injured for
no,
three
of course,
months.
it's
We
great
saw
to have that.
Kunde injured for like about
Mhm.
2 months. So even if we have Christensen as that backup, he's still gonna be playing a lot of minutes. Because I don't think none of our center backs are particularly like very like wary of injuries. Like our center backs get injured a lot. Basically, they're injury prone.
Right. I mean, I don't know if that's fair to say because they've only got an injury. I mean, at least Araujo, he's only had one major injury.
Well, see, but Araujo has had small little injuries like throughout, because you remember like
That's true.
in
That's
the
true.
2021,
Yeah, yeah.
like in a lot of periods of time, Araujo did get injured. He comes back really quickly, but he misses games as well.
Right. No, of course you want your players to be healthy all throughout. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You want your players to be healthy throughout the season, and that's gonna happen. But the game against Betis, this is a great chance for us to basically win and basically get us even closer to winning Xavi's first title. And if we manage to win the Supercopa de España, the confidence boost that this would give us to go into the La Liga, to go into the Europa League, is going to be very, very good. It could spell very good things for us, and it could be the start of something very beautiful at the club.
No,
But
for
before,
sure.
well, then we'll continue.
No, no. What you're saying is
Yeah,
100% true. I also wanted to add. Now, a lot of people seem to forget that. I know Champions League is the most important trophy, but it's not the only trophy, right? I
exactly,
understand we were kicked out of the competition this year prematurely, but that doesn't mean there's not other trophies to be won. We're currently in first place to win La Liga, and
exactly.
God willing, we do. But of course, we still have the Supercopa and we have the Copa del Rey,
Hmm.
right? So there's still tournaments for us to win, and I think if Xavi wins two or three trophies this season is phenomenal. I'd be happy with one, right? I personally, if I had to choose, I'd just rather him win the league
Hmm.
because that's always a very important trophy to win.
Yeah.
But I think Xavi should go for the league and the Supercopa, or the league and Copa and La Copa Rey, or all three. I think he has to go. I think this Barcelona team has to be ambitious. Yes, they're not where they should be, and they don't have the players to get to Xavi's ideal level. But you gotta work with what you have. You gotta make do, and I think this team is very special and it has a lot of potential to do
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And on
Great.
top of that, like it has a lot of room to grow.
Mm,
But before we round off the episode, score predictions for tomorrow's game.
I think it'll be 2-0 or 3-1 us.
2-0 3-1 us. Okay, okay. With Lewandowski back, and taking into account that our performances at the like from the restart of the season hasn't been that great, I'm actually gonna go for a low scoring game. It's either gonna be a 2-1 or 1-0 in our favor. But
That's fair.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have to go play extra time because Real Madrid, they basically ended in a tie 1-1 and they had to go into penalties to beat Valencia.
Right.
Um, so I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win from Barcelona, and we play Real Madrid in the Supercopa de España final. But guys, that was it for today's episode. As always, I post a link on Twitter. If you guys want to join, you're always welcome to. I post a link a couple minutes before we go live. So always make sure to join if you want. Hop into the discussion. But as always, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you guys all on the next episode.
There you guys have a good one.